Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted voice in decoding financial trends shaping global currency landscapes. Today, we turn our attention to a rising contender in the Southeast Asian market, the Vietnamese dong, VND. Often overlooked, this currency is now capturing the interest of investors and financial strategists alike. With changes quietly underway, those closely observing the economic pulse of Vietnam may be witnessing the early stages of a financial transformation that could reshape how the VND is perceived globally. As of the current date in the USA, the Vietnamese dong remains within the 23,000 to 25,000 range per US dollar. However, there are clear signals from Vietnam's monetary authorities that something deeper is in motion. The State Bank of Vietnam continues its firm grip over currency controls, shielding the dong from speculative instability. Yet that same control has historically limited the VND from reflecting its genuine market value. That's beginning to shift. In the first quarter of 2025, the central bank made a subtle yet significant adjustment by nudging the official exchange midpoint upward. Though numerically small, this move sent a strong message. Confidence in the dong's purchasing power is growing. This recalibration could pave the way for partial or even full convertibility, a major step forward for the currency on the international stage. This shift isn't happening in isolation. Vietnam's economy has been gathering momentum with a speed that global financial organizations can no longer ignore. For 3 quarters in a row, both the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund have upgraded Vietnam's GDP growth forecasts. Exports are surging, inflation has stayed comfortably below 3%, and tech-driven services are pushing domestic output to new highs. Foreign direct investment continues to pour into the country, particularly from companies shifting manufacturing away from China due to geopolitical tensions and rising costs. Vietnam is quickly becoming a vital link in global supply chains. Its foreign currency reserves have now surpassed $120 billion, 0 cents, offering a larger safety net for the government to manage currency adjustments, while bolstering the dong's position against other major currencies. These reserves are not just sitting idle, they're being used strategically. Financial institutions across Southeast Asia and even select banks in Europe and Australia are now accepting Vietnamese dong for currency exchange, often offering better than expected rates. In Singapore, for instance, private banks are exploring investment vehicles denominated in VND, marking a shift in institutional trust, even without a formal revaluation. What's also notable is the rise in domestic confidence. A psychological transformation is underway among the Vietnamese public. Historically, people saved wealth in gold or US dollars out of fear of instability. That narrative is now shifting. In 2025, more citizens are parking savings in dong-based accounts, investing in local real estate, and conducting everyday digital transactions in their own currency. Urban centers like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are reporting record-high real estate activity, and these deals are increasingly being closed in Vietnamese dong. Even in rural regions, there's growing optimism. Small businesses are expanding, fueled by government-backed loans and access to low-cost capital. A big catalyst in this change has been Vietnam's fintech boom. Over the past year and a half, digital payment platforms and mobile banking tools have surged in popularity, particularly among younger users. With more than 80 million smartphone users and internet penetration on the rise, the country is pivoting fast toward a digital-first economy. This shift enhances financial transparency, improves efficiency, and encourages inclusion across demographics. As more transactions occur in Vietnamese dong through digital channels, its strength and reliability in the local economy are being reinforced, making it harder for critics to label the currency as weak or outdated. Adding further weight to the Vietnamese dong's trajectory is Vietnam's growing role in international trade networks. As a prominent member of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, Vietnam now enjoys privileged access to a broad consumer base across the Asia-Pacific region. At the same time, its bilateral trade relationship with the United States has reached all-time highs, even as global economic frictions persist. These growing trade flows bring in large amounts of foreign currency and further strengthen the foundation for a meaningful currency revaluation. Such international momentum doesn't just enhance Vietnam's credibility, it creates a tangible pressure to let the dong reflect its actual market position. Vietnam's economic fundamentals are no longer hidden behind capital controls or outdated perceptions. Instead, they're beginning to tell a story of rising resilience, increasing productivity, and careful monetary planning. All of this points toward a significant reality for Vietnamese dong investors as we move through May 2025. The currency is no longer just a tool for speculation or a regional oddity with limited utility abroad. The VND is becoming a serious contender for inclusion in diversified financial strategies, especially among those tracking emerging markets. While a dramatic overnight revaluation has yet to take place, the pieces are steadily falling into place. From broader economic reform and strong institutional trust to domestic sentiment and digital integration, every major indicator is tilting in favor of the dong's rise. Public behavior has been one of the most revealing shifts. The Vietnamese people, once hesitant to trust their own currency, are increasingly turning toward the dong as a secure store of value. This shift in mindset from gold and dollars to domestic savings is creating a self-reinforcing loop of confidence. When citizens begin treating their local currency as dependable, it gains both stability and influence. Moreover, Vietnam's government appears to be deliberately pacing this transformation. Rather than triggering market shock with abrupt announcements, it is laying the groundwork for a steady, credible ascent. The central bank's cautious but clear signals, paired with rising reserves and stable inflation, are helping to manage expectations while setting the stage for deeper changes. Another major factor to monitor is Vietnam's technological ecosystem. With fintech and e-commerce expanding quickly, the nation is weaving digital solutions directly into its financial infrastructure. This development serves as a buffer against corruption, improves traceability, and reduces dependency on physical cash. These factors collectively elevate the strength and stability of the dong, making it more than just a national currency. It becomes a digital-ready financial asset aligned with modern global standards. So what should investors, observers, and everyday holders of VND make of all this? The answer is increasingly clear. While headlines have yet to announce a bold shift, those paying close attention see that Vietnam is preparing the groundwork for a financial reset. A revaluation, once seen as far-fetched, now seems plausible, and even probable, if current patterns continue. For those holding Vietnamese dong, or considering it as a long-term play, this may be a rare window of opportunity. The quiet reforms, the strategic moves by financial institutions, and the steady embrace of digital systems are all building towards something far greater than what's visible on the surface. If Vietnam executes this transition fully, early positioned holders of the dong could find themselves in the middle of one of the most significant currency turnarounds in recent memory. Keep watching this space, because what's unfolding in Vietnam isn't just economic, it's potentially transformative. And if the Vietnamese government decides to take the next step toward currency liberalization or revaluation, the world may be forced to recalibrate its entire view of the VND. As always, Iraqi Dinar News will keep you ahead of the curve with timely updates and smart analysis.